What's up, guys? Welcome to another video of DevTalks with your host Travian, where we talk about everything engineering and technology wise. In this video, we're going to actually be covering what Elon Musk's speech was at the Saudi event that happened last week. I'm getting into it now. I kind of want to hear what he has to say and really dive deep into some of the announcements that they gave, because there was a lot of tech CEOs over there. And I remember seeing a lot of stuff, which I'll talk about later in this reaction if it ever comes up to it, about that summit. But a lot of money and investments were going on at this summit. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let's just dive right in.
Now, I'm sure we can do a better welcome than that to Elon Musk in Saudi Arabia. There you go. That's the spirit.
Thank you.
Elon, my dear friend, we're honored to have President Trump. We're honored under the sponsorship and guidance of His Royal Highness to celebrate a U.S.-Saudi and a Saudi-U.S. relationship that is 92 years old, about how we move from an oil-based economy to an innovation-based economy powered by wonderful technologies that definitely you're one of the pioneers in this industry. We just showed to His Royal Highness some of your Optimus robots.
Yeah.
And to President Trump.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Tell me about them.
Yes, so we just showed several of our Tesla Optimus robots to His Highness and President Trump, and I think they were very impressed. In fact, one of our robots did the Trump dance, which I think was pretty cool.
The YMCA, yeah?
Yeah, to YMCA. So yeah, our robots can dance, they can walk around, they can interact. I think we're headed to a radically different world. I think a good world, an interesting world. My prediction actually for humanoid robots is that ultimately there will be tens of billions. I think everyone will want to have their personal robot. You can think of it like as though you had your own personal C-3PO or R2-D2, but even better. Then who wouldn't want to have their own personal C-3PO, R2-D2? That would be pretty great.
I don't mean to cut him off here, but one of the craziest things about saying that, right? If there's billions of people on the earth, and each person, we're not going to say every person, we'll say like 80% of the people. Starting out, a lot of people aren't going to have it, but as time goes on, more and more people will have their own robot, depending on pricing and everything that goes on in that kind of form one day. So yes, if a robot's in every homes, but one of the things when he was just talking about the robots interacting, walking around, doing Trump's dance, you know, the little shimmy that Trump does or whatever. The one thing that I thought about that's actually going to be crazy here is service industry people are going to be replaced by these robots walking around and serving these people. Like, I was just thinking there, like, what if they didn't have anybody like serving them their stuff, walking around in whatever area that they were at, and they just had robots do it instead? And I'm thinking about like those high-end events, instead of them having those waiters, they just, and hiring out waiters, they just have robots doing all the serving and things. And then you like just really think about it and you're like, dang, like there are going to be human servers and like people in those industries still, because I feel like humans are always, it's going to come to a point where there's going to be a niche for humans to still want to interact with humans and have human like servers and things like that, but it might be integrated with robots. It might just only be robots. There's going to be a lot of crazy stuff in the future, especially if things go the way that these dudes are all planning them to be. But yeah, that's just my thoughts, just hearing them talk for the first minute.
And I also think it unlocks an immense amount of economic potential, because when you think of like what is the output of an economy, it is productivity per capita times population or capita. Once you have humanoid robots, the actual economic output potential is tremendous. It's really unlimited. Potentially we could have an economy 10 times the size of the current global economy where no one wants for anything. Sometimes in AI they talk about universal basic income. I think it's actually going to be universal high income, where anyone can have any goods or services that they want. A science fiction book recommendation that I have, which I think is probably the best envisioning of an AI future, is the culture books by Ian Banks. Very highly recommended for a non-dystopian view of the future. There obviously are some risks, which illustrate perhaps if we don't do this right, you could have like a James Cameron sort of movie, Terminator. We don't want that one. But having sort of a Star Trek future would be great, where we're out there exploring the stars, discovering the nature of the universe, and a level of prosperity and hopefully happiness that we can't quite imagine yet. So I'm very excited about the future, and very glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's our absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And His Royal Highness was talking to you about his vision and his dream to increase productivity for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and power up the region and the whole world with robotics, but also on robo-taxis. So how are we doing on robo-taxis?
So really you can think of a car or future cars as being robots on four wheels. And, I think it would be very exciting to have autonomous vehicles here in the kingdom.
Indeed.
If you're amenable.
You heard it here from Elon. He's bringing his robo-taxi to the kingdom.
Yeah.
He has another announcement that he's going to share.
Exactly. So, and I'd also like to thank the kingdom for approving Starlink for maritime and aviation use. Thank you.
Maritime and aviation. There you go. There you go.
So
you're going to bring us robots to help us increase our productivity.
Yeah.
Robo-taxis to make sure that our cars and assets turn into a cash-generating unit.
Yeah.
And Starlink to reform our aviation and maritime.
Yeah.
Talk about XAI.
Absolutely. But I should want to mention also something that may be worth considering is tunnels.
The Boring Company.
I have this company called The Boring Company, which sounds kind of boring, but it literally bores tunnels. And actually, tunnels, in order to solve traffic, you really need to go 3D with roads. And by using tunnels, you can essentially create like a wormhole, like a warp tunnel from one part of the city to another and alleviate traffic. And we've actually already done this proof of concept in Vegas. So there are working tunnels in Las Vegas that you can use where that'll just, it feels like teleporting from one part of Vegas to another. So I always say that, my joke is like tunnels are underappreciated.
One thing that I actually agree with Elon here to some point, because when you travel to other countries, for instance, like I went to Japan, right? Their subway systems underground are amazing. If you go to Osaka, you can literally be underground all day. All day. You can be underground. You would, if you were above ground, like on a taxi or somewhere, you're going somewhere above ground, like to one of the buildings, there are hundreds of thousands of people under you. Under the ground. For subway uses, and there's like malls down there. There's malls, there's restaurants. They have a whole like underground society kind of thing going down in Japan. And I was like, we need this stuff in the US. And of course, like Elon has his own thing where they do these underground car stuff, tunnel stuff, but the way that he does these tunnels, the way he's thinking about it is for his vehicles. So he's imaging it as, hey, these are Tesla tunnels where Teslas can go through here. And when he has these robo-taxis that come out, and it's funny because he talked about so much stuff that I could just talk about because we've been covering it. And it's amazing. But when he has these robo taxis coming out, instead of the robo taxis sticking to the highway, he wants them to go through all his own personal tunnels and stuff, where they will be able to just go through traffic, and you'll only see his robo taxis or Tesla vehicles going through these tunnels. And that's all you'll see going in and out of these tunnels, and they'll get through traffic quicker and stuff. I bet you that's exactly where they're coming through here, and that's why he brought up the whole tunnel system with the robo taxi portion. And it's funny he said that because Waymo just did recalls, and I'm about to do a video on that. We just did a video with Waymo, building up their manufacturing plants and stuff like that, and expanding throughout the United States. And we had a lot of good comments and likes and ratios in that video. So if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. We have another video coming out about Waymo, about some news that's going on, and all these stuff are also related to each other, all these different companies and things. When he's talking about robotics and productivity, I don't agree with it to the standpoint that he's saying. I think, yes, for the right person, robotics can boost human productivity, but for other people, it will be a detriment to them in their lives. It will make them lazier, and a lot of aspects of that as well too. I just can't say that for everybody. Just going off personal experience, you look at how people use technology now. Even parents, like, technology has made parents lazier and actually parenting their children and just throwing iPads in their face so they don't have to actually do the parenting portion. That's going to be a hot take that people might run with. I might actually clip that up, but that is just the truth. Nobody can go against that. It's just something that's going to happen with robotics. So I don't agree with that standpoint. But the one thing I do agree with is there's a reason why all the sci-fi movies have robots on their spaceships, and it's because to travel throughout the galaxy, actually, human lifespan isn't long enough. So you need robotics to help pilot these vehicles and stuff so that we can experience them in our lives if we can find a way to maintain our bodies and lives throughout the traveling distance. But Elon's really intelligent. Everything's going up for Tesla. This investment thing was really big. Let's just finish out the rest of this video because it's getting kind of long now with all my speeches and things, and we'll go on from there.
It's a bit of a, not always a hit, but yeah, and then XAI is just trying to solve general purpose artificial intelligence. The goal with XAI is to have a maximally truth-seeking AI. And it's important to be a maximally truth-seeking AI in order to understand the universe. Mm-hmm. So the goal of XAI is understand the universe. To understand, what is out there. Where's the universe going? Where did it come from? What questions, in fact, I think maybe the biggest thing is, what questions do we not know to ask? Once you know the question, the answer is usually the easy part. So the goal of XAI is to help understand the universe and that's the goal. And help people answer any questions along the way, of course. But that's my philosophy. My philosophy is one of curiosity, just trying to understand the nature of reality.
So I know you had a long day, but we also have the Honorable President and His Royal Highness Musaidi hitting the stage soon. Yes. So this is a historic day, a partnership about how we could join hands together, as we have joined hands in the past 92 years, on building a factor-based economy.
All right, so that's pretty much it about his whole speech and everything. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about Elon's whole speech in Saudi. I think it's pretty a good thing, especially for the people out there and the investment that they're putting into Tesla. That's probably why the stock shot up right after that, because of everybody seeing kind of the vision and the investments that they're getting. Saudi money pockets go deep. especially with that whole oil situation that they got going out there. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you want to send me any recommendations, send me an email at devtalkspod@gmail.com. Also, will be in the description down below for you guys to find it. Without further ado, peace. See y'all next time.